It's Power Penny Days at JCPenney. Rev up the savings. Score thousands of deals from $5 to $25 while they last. Like $5 tees for the family. Stock up on everyone's faves. And Home Expressions quick dry bath towels, also only $5 each. Plus, upgrade your kitchen with Cook small appliances. Your choice, only $19. JCPenney. Make it count. Offers valid on select styles A22 to A25. Power Penny deals excluded from coupons. See store or jcp.com for details.
Hey everybody, my name is Jesse Collins, and I want to tell you all about my show, the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcast Network. On the Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast, we do a thorough analysis on the biggest issues and trends within the pro wrestling industry. We talk a lot about pro wrestling media, we talk a lot about fan culture and wrestling's place within general pop culture, and we talk about the broader influences that are shaping the way we discuss and analyze the pro wrestling industry. We've had some of the brightest minds in the pro wrestling intelligentsia on the show, including WrestleNomics host Brandon Thurston, both Rich Craich and Joe Lanza from the Flagship Wrestling Podcast, Trevor Dame from the Through the Years podcast, and a whole lot more. This isn't a show for hot takes. It's not a show recapping the latest episode of television. This is a show focusing on the biggest topics in pro wrestling and doing a deep dive on the real stories behind the surface level analysis you might find elsewhere. The Gentleman's Wrestling Podcast is available wherever you get your podcasts, and we'd really appreciate it if you gave us a try. Thanks.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Tuesday the 20th of August 2024, and this is episode 324. We did it, Damon. We made it through yet another Grade 1 Climax.
We did, and I'm happy to say we came out of it relatively unscathed. I think we have put together some pretty nice shows for everybody. I think a lot of people enjoyed the conversations we had with Frazier and his insights, and what a great dude he is, and just so much fun. And I know he's got a lot more followers, and he's doing. he did that interview with that kid, the high school kid. I didn't hear Super J-Cast. I didn't hear anything along those lines, but that's all right. We'll get it next time. And then, of course, our round table that we had earlier with the great Chris Samsa and the first time collaboration, tonkatsu with keeping it strong style. So I think we had a good showing for ourselves. I think we put out some quality content, and dare I say, hats off to New Japan. I think, look, for me, and we'll get into it deeper. I'll tease you a little bit. About my feelings about it, but. I think we had a good couple weeks. I always love G1. I always love post G1 too, because it just means the autumn months are right around the corner, and all this good sports stuff happens, and the weather starts to change, and the leaves. It's a good time of year. So I think we did good.
The wrestling does not end for me, because for my sins, we'll be going this weekend to the Rev Pro anniversary show Saturday night. And All In Wembley on Sunday night, which I wasn't planning to go to, because I've probably told this story before, that my good friend and Smartcast alumni Sipsy didn't buy me a ticket because I complained so much at last year's Wembley show that he just assumed correctly that I wouldn't want to go. But I've got another friend, one of my friends from university, who's not a wrestling fan but saw it pop up and thought, I'll buy tickets for me and Joel and other friends. So he said, I got your ticket. So I thought, I've not seen this guy for a while. I might as well go. Right. But I just dread going into London. I just came back from London this weekend. I took the family down for the weekend and did, Big Ben and London Eye and the zoo and the museums and all that stuff. And so grateful that I don't live there anymore because I can't do it. It just feels really claustrophobic and crowded, and just makes me anxious being there. It's amazing how quickly I've become a country bumpkin. I can't handle the city anymore. But irrespective of that, I will be at Rev Pro. So if anyone's going to the Rev Pro show, me and my friend Sam will be in the same place as last time. I think it's called Crate, the pizza and pub nearby from, I don't know, about 4-ish, I guess. So if you fancy coming down and buying me, now last year it was cider. I'm not sure I can consume that many ciders. Maybe let's go with a whiskey and Diet Coke. Jack Daniels and Diet Coke. Because I have issues with the cider and the acid indigestion. It's giving me heartburn, so I'm trying to move on to an alcoholic beverage that's not going to give me acid reflux for the rest of the night. So yeah, if you're around, come and say hi.
Back in the swing of things. Look at you. One, I'm shocked that you're going back to Wembley after the nightmare that you described. Getting out of that fucking joint is, I just, all I hear is the horror stories getting out. But also putting up with all the numbskulls out there. But the Red Pro show should be pretty fucking awesome, actually. Where's that? Is that at Copperbox?
Copperbox.
Nice.
Yes, that's right.
Beautiful. Yeah, you'll have a good time there. That should be they always put on a fucking good show. I don't know. And I'm saying this out of pure ignorance. I just don't know. What's the card for Wembley?
Oh, for Wembley? I thought you were going to say Rev Pro.
I mean, we can start there. What's the card for Rev Pro?
Ricky Knight Jr. versus Zozaya, Connor Mills versus Ethan Allen. This is not looking good so far. Let me just go to matches. Donovan Dijak versus Gabe Kidd. That should be quite fun. There's a cruiserweight title scramble match. Neon, El Phantasmo, Leon Slater, Cameron Kai, Will Caven, and question mark. We've got tag team title with the Grizzled Young Veterans against Sunshine Machine. Tomohiro Ishii versus JJ Gale. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Hechicero. Michael Oku versus Luke Jacobs. Yeah, there's enough good stuff there to make it worth my while.
Yeah, that'll be a fun show. And the crowd's always, it's a good show. It's good. You'll have a good time. All right, so I'll give that a solid B so far. I can't believe you're doing a twofer. You're doing a double shot. What's Wembley? What's Wembley looking like?
Okay, Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway versus Willow Nightingale and Tomohiro Ishii.
What?
Tony Storm.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Tomohiro Ishii in a mixed tag team match on the pre-show. That's what they're doing with Big Tom.
Who's on the opposite side? I know Willow Nightingale. I've seen her, and she's actually really good.
She's good. Yeah.
Yep. Of course, Big Tom. Who's on the other side?
Yeah. Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway.
What?
Like, don't make me do AEW discourse. They'll come for me. They'll be attacking me.
Okay.
Why do you hate this? You fucking idiot! You gotta love every part of AEW. I'll kill you. That's what they say to me.
Okay. That's terrible. I couldn't think of a worse possible match. Okay, next.
Tony Storm against Mariah May.
Okay, that's been a feud that's been in. Okay, a lot of drama.
MJF versus Will Ospreay for the American Championship.
Okay, I mean, we'll see. I'll give it a shot. I mean, listen, it's Will. You know what I mean? And I think if
they dial down the
nonsense,
the shenanigans, that could be very, very good. If it's more of an Ospreay match than an MJF match, but no, in my luck, it won't be. It's going to be full on.
Look on that hand.
NXT coded nonsense. We've got Jack Perry versus Darby Allin in a coffin match. A coffin match.
I would prefer a coffee match. I might need it to keep me awake. I'll be like, have another, please. I'll have a double. All right, what else we got?
Mercedes Moné against Britt Baker.
Okay.
That's all right.
Two big names.
We've got a casino gauntlet match for a future AEW World Championship match. And apparently that's the match where they're going to be putting in Okada.
In this gauntlet?
Yeah, he's not announced for a match.
What?
Which seems wild to me that they've got a guy the caliber of Kazuchika Okada and putting him in a...
The guy doesn't... Is he hurt?
No, I think maybe he just doesn't. He's not that keen on professional wrestling anymore. I think he's retired for all intents and purposes.
Wow. Who was booking this? This is preposterous. Okay, good. Next.
Chris Jericho versus Hook.
What? Okay.
Got the Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaimed.
Okay, it'd probably be good. They'll do their thing. All right.
And a 4-way ladder match for the Trios Championship. So the Patriarchy, that's Christian Cage, Killswitch, and Nick Wayne against Juice Robinson, Austin Gunn, and Colton Gunn against Malachi Black, Brody King, and Buddy Matthews versus wild card winners, whatever that means. There's going to be another team in there.
Wow. Are you that is
make it a double Jack Daniels and Coke.
Yes. Here's the plan. Get your drinks because you deserve them, right? Then right before the show, be like, guys, you know what? I'm gonna have to tap out. Mally called. I think she pushed my kid on the zip line and he fell. And I gotta go take care of things. You know, my little one. My little boy might be wearing a little cast when I get back. So I got to get out of here. I got to go. So have fun. that would be my move. I'm not going to lie. That would absolutely be my fucking move. You kidding me? That's terrible. I don't know how you can have that crappy of a lineup. Wow.
Main event.
I'm not just. Okay. There is a main event. Okay, I thought that was it. My bad.
No, Swerve Strickland against Bryan Danielson. So that's title versus career.
Oh.
That should be good. I like that. I like Swerve. I think he's really, really great wrestler.
Yeah. Yeah, that should be. I mean, honestly, on paper, besides just Will and fingers crossed MJF, that sounds like the best thing on paper. The tag match should be fun. I think that'd be fun. But wow, I mean, that's just a weird fucking show for a big building like that.
I'll amuse myself by doing the Okada bump prediction count.
I can't believe he's in a gauntlet match.
No, he's not even confirmed for that. His name is nowhere on this card. So I'm assuming he's going to be put into that. He might just sack it off and be like, no, I'm good.
Wow. That is, I mean, what an investment. I mean, just throw money out the fucking window. You know, he's like a guy with a catchphrase now, I hear. He's, what is it?
Yeah, he says, bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my goodness. I'll tell you what, if you can make that, what a fucking life. I mean, he's done it all in the ring, right? Guy put his body out there.
I would be doing exactly the same thing if I were in his position.
Yeah. I mean, he is just living life to the fullest now. No, you don't have to worry about all those naggy injuries and all that bull. Just fucking turn to the camera and say, bitch, for the millions that he got. Wow.
You remember those G1 documentaries we watched of him, having the ice bath and sort of hobbling into bed and barely being able to move? Don't blame him one bit. He's done his time.
He really has. What a smart cookie. And you got Tony just lapping at his nuts. So I mean, he's just so great. He's honestly good for him. Good for him. He gave it all he had for us. And then he's going to take a little break. Good for him. Good for him. Wow, that is a shitty fucking card, my friend. Man. I'm telling you, I can't get over it. Wowzers. All right, let's change it. Let's change it up. Let's switch gears. Where do you want to go? Because we have a ton that we could talk about.
Let's do G1. So obviously the tournament's wrapped up. From what people we've spoken to, office and wrestlers, very happy with the quality of the G1 overall, despite the crowd numbers being down. I think there are some mitigating factors there, sort of different venues, certain parts of the country, like was it the Hokkaido region they didn't run this time, and smaller venues in similar areas where they run larger venues before. So I don't think that's anything to be hitting the panic buttons for. I mean, particularly that the finals where they did a pretty good number. It was about 8,000, just over 8,000. So it was only 200 down on last year where they had Okada versus Naito, like arguably their biggest drawing main event. So running Zack versus Tsuji and getting just 200 fewer, I think that's pretty good. That's a really nice feather in the cap for both of those guys.
Yeah. I mean, look, I don't think anyone will sit here and argue that and say this was the best G1, rank them, put it at the top. No, I don't think anyone's saying that. But what I will say is this. I think a lot of people, and I'm in this group, that I don't think I've had more fun watching a G1 than I had for quite a long time. Like you just didn't know. And I love that. Like, I love the idea of turning this thing on early in the morning, popping it on, and just being blown away. Like, oh my God, they fucking put him over. And oh my God, this guy lost. And what are they doing with the points? And like, there was a ton of that. I had so much fun watching it that, like, I don't know if I am. And trust me, we got quite a few really great matches. But I wasn't really sitting there on pins and needles for great matches. I was sitting there on pins and needles for have a really good match, but fuck my brain up, like go all in and just fucking, mix me up.
And I love forward for the future. Let's have some, some upward and forward momentum. Let's see some long-term thinking. And I think that's what we got. And
that takes balls. Let's be very clear. That takes it takes balls, but it also takes vision, and it takes, okay, here is the plan. And from the feedback that I think we've gotten, it's like, I think the company as a whole and the wrestlers as a whole see that, and they recognize that, and they're buying into that, which is probably the most important thing. And
I mean, who's the biggest draw in the company?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
who would you say is the biggest draw in the company? Like, it's Naito.
The biggest, right? Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Right, and he was not in the latter stage of the tournament at all. So they had two Sumo Hall shows to sell, and he didn't figure into that. That's gutsy.
It is gutsy. It's gutsy to have him lose as often as he did. It's gutsy to have guys that you've had penciled in as definites. It's gutsy to stick with my pick of a summer of Zack and actually delivering on it. That it is pretty ballsy, and it is almost like it did feel a little bit like, all right, you know what? Thanks for sticking with us. We recognize what you have done. Here's the G1 win that you've been waiting for. It's exciting. I love the fact that there are new guys in the top spot, and we're building, and it's not just this, okay, let's just blink an eye and now these guys are fucking world beaters. Nope. They're being typical New Japan, slow burn, methodical. But even then, it's a little bit faster than it has been in years past. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know how you feel. This was the most fun I've had watching in quite a few years. That's for sure.
Yeah, let's get into the latter stage of the tournament. I probably can't remember a huge amount from the semi-finals and the quarterfinals as well. But let's go with it anyway. So this is going back to August the 15th in Chiba. So the second and third place playoffs, we had, first of all, Shingo Takagi defeating Great Khan in 20 minutes and 50 seconds with Last of the Dragon. So we can no longer say Gokigwa. Gokwa? Great Khan was on a run. It's a good match. I mean, I enjoyed Great Khan working over Shingo's right elbow. I think Okan has improved his control segments in this tournament. I think his limb work is very strong. I like the way it incorporates his martial arts background as well. He's improved his crowd connection, and there's a bit of a chicken and egg thing there. I think that's partly down to him being booked a bit more strongly this time, and the fans believe in him now. You can hear those strong oh god chants. And I don't, maybe he's not a future world champion, but you could definitely slot him into like a Goto or a Suzuki role as that sort of mid-card cult hero or underdog hero who flirts with the big spots. Doesn't necessarily win the big one, but you can sort of plug him into there from time to time. I thought Shingo sold the arm really well here, and that it began sort of like a long-term story of him in the latter stages of this tournament over the next two matches. Created a lot of drama, although in this match they never really sort of leaned in on teasing the Great Khan win. He didn't get many near falls. The match seemed to exist in part just to set up those injured limbs for Shingo Takagi. But I mean, do you think Great Khan's position in the company has improved now?
It feels like it, and we've kind of joked about it before, where it's like somebody doesn't like him and somebody likes him, and it depends on which way the wind's blowing as to how he is perceived by management and wins and losses and pushes and so forth. I don't know. I think you nailed it in the sense that I don't think anyone is clamoring for a world title or even like a major secondary for him. But as a solid gatekeeper and a middle of the road guy and a tough challenge, I'm all in. And then if you want to flirt with, again, some of those titles, I'm totally cool with that as well. I don't know if I necessarily saw like great improvement. I just felt like I saw an energy that maybe wasn't there before, or this might be weird, but a happiness to be there and being recognized that I think came through a little bit more than it has in past years. Whatever that might be, it just seemed like he had a little bit more energy and a little bit more pep in the step and a little bit more in the moment, as opposed to him kind of feeling, all right, we're going through the motions. Shingo, I think, is, I argued that he's been the most important signing New Japan has had. And, I mean, you could argue in modern New Japan Pro Wrestling, he's a guy that, like, just how much this company has leaned on him and he's come through every single fucking time. So, yeah, I thought the match was good. Again, it's hard for me to compare these to past G1s. I don't know if it measures up with like other semifinal matches or stuff like that. I thought it was good. And I think the thing that I got out of it most is the idea of taking Okan a little bit more seriously by the company. And I think it showed in just his disposition, and hopefully it carries through.
And then we had Yota Tsuji, who was third place in B block, defeating the runner-up in the B block, Konosuke Takeshita, 21 minutes, 30 seconds after the Gene Blaster. And lots of people, myself included, foresaw this outcome with Tsuji getting his win back over Takeshita. And apparently Takeshita's been working through a knee injury. I don't know if it was the same one as the one that was presented as injured in the match, but having Tsuji working on top was an interesting choice. I mean, maybe just for some variety, as he'd be working from underneath against Finlay the following night. And I enjoy the drama built around the Gene Blaster as a finishing move, that it is very versatile. It can be countered. In this match, it was countered by a knee to the face and also a German suplex, or he might land it and launch the opponent a bit too close to the ropes and there's a rope break. Great bit of misdirection at the end where Takeshita dodged it at the end and ran Tsuji into the turnbuckle and then launched him with the German suplex. But it's really great bit of camera work because they didn't have Tsuji in the shot. So the camera tight close up on Takeshita, roaring, ready to launch into his finishing move. But then Tsuji just popped up out of nowhere, fired back with the Gene Blaster to end the match. That was a big shock. Really, really nice bit of production there. I don't think it was a really good match. It wasn't quite as good as their first match. That was a high bar though. I thought good use of Takeshita overall, guy who's not afraid of taking a beating or putting people over. We talked about Okada earlier. Takeshita's a guy who has got all the talent of Kazuchika Okada, but none of the ego. So just tremendous upside there, and hope he starts getting used properly. Where do you see the Takeshita New Japan relationship going, or do you think that's it?
No, I mean, even he was talking about coming back, and he's going to weigh options on how that's going to look and all that stuff. Again, I've said it a trillion times. He's the MVP for me. MVP for me, and it would be a crying shame if there hasn't been talks, and I'm sure that there has been, and at least feelers. I love the fact that on his way out the door, he's putting over guys that he's supposed to put over. Right, that's tremendous. I don't know. I got a soft spot in my heart for the dude, and I just envisioned such great things for the company if he were able to be here And I envision great things for him if he were able to be here. Working through it. I think everybody's really working through injuries, but working through that knee injury. I'm hoping. I don't think. I think if I had a wish list for New Japan, that might be my number one of locking him down. I'm that high on him. I don't. To me, right now, a potential free agent out there. I can't think of one person that I would rather have more than him. I can't think of one person.
Yeah, echo those sentiments as well. So, we'll have to watch this space. I know a lot of backstage comments have had people in different New Japan factions courting him and saying, "Oh, come and join us, come and join us." So that's encouraging, at least that they're leaving the door open for future interactions. Then we move on to August the 17th. So this was at Ryogoku Kokugikan, or attendance of 5,340. So not the strongest, but this was the semi-final. So you wouldn't expect a particularly strong number here. But nevertheless, we had Yota Tsuji defeating David Finlay in the B block final in 28 minutes and 5 seconds via Gene Blaster. I can't remember who I was talking to about this. I think it was Chris Samsa who said Jay White was the perfect guy to lose in a final, and David Finlay is a perfect guy to lose in a semi-final. He's just like a step below that level. And honestly, I think the only thing preventing Finlay from being that sort of world champion finalist Jay White level is a nice succulent dose of steroids to help him get that Jay White body.
My goodness gracious.
I'm serious. New Japan is an aesthetics company. They're a body company. I think you got to look the part as well. And I think Finlay is doing everything right in the ring and the way he's carrying himself and presenting himself. But you got to have those abs if he's going to be a top guy. I thought he did a really great job in this match, selling the growing frustration and desperation as he launched all his big moves and putting Tsuji through a table, just doing everything that he can to put Tsuji away, but just not getting the job done. Tsuji continued kicking out. Reminded me a bit of the Jay White versus Ibushi series, that Wrestle Kingdom match they had as well. I thought it was a really fantastic closing stretch, lots of exciting near falls. The cherry on the cake, of course, being that wonderful tribute to the injured Yuya Uemura. Tsuji used the deadbolt suplex to set up the Gene Blaster. Just a fantastic finish. I thought a really, really good match here.
Yeah, it was, I don't know if funny is the word, but like my thoughts after the match was, I guess, New Japan really, really, really has their heart set on Yota Tsuji. and I'm totally cool with it. Don't get me wrong. But it was like, okay, like the wins that he's picking up and getting to the finals and being a force in, New Japan Cup, and just, he's the guy. Like, to me, I don't think anybody's, I don't think it's a wacky statement. I think everybody's like, yeah, no kidding, dude. And I will say this as well. David Finlay, I thought he had a really good tournament. And by really good, I mean consistent. And like, I don't think we didn't see a bad match. We didn't see average. I think consistently good. But like the company as a whole and the idea of faction leaders and stuff like that, I think still is relevant and still is important. And the one thing that I just couldn't get out of my mind is, Yota Tsuji beat guys to get there. And of course, anyone who's making it to the finals, yes, of course, has to beat guys. Like, he beat guys to get to the finals. So, like, I feel like that whatever supposed rocket or jetpack or whatever the fuck you want to call it, make no mistake about it. It's definitely on this fucking guy. And, it might not mean, Tokyo Dome main event this year, but he's going to be in the mix. And when you lose in semifinals and finals and stuff like that, and you win secondary tournaments, and you're in the mix for title shots, and you're just top of you're there. Like, you're going to be a focal point, and it's up to the other kids to kind of play a little catch up at this point. The one thing I will say that I do not like about him, and it wasn't, I don't know what it was this time, like during G1. Maybe it was just like the idea of G1 being the grind and seeing the same people. I don't know if I'm a big fan of the constant smiling. I gotta be honest with you. I don't know if I'm on board with it. Like, it's sometimes, I don't know if it's a nervous thing or just he's just so relaxed that I'm fine. I'm laughing it off. Like, I don't know. It's weird, but it's really getting on my fucking nerves at this point.
And the A block final was Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Shingo Takagi in 27 minutes 38 seconds with a knee submission. It's listed on the website as knee cruciate, so no amusing submission name for this one. But I thought it was absolute masterclass from Zack. He systematically took Shingo's knee apart, which led into more, I thought, really outstanding selling from Shingo, culminating in that moment where he did what I'm labeling the limping bomber, where he's sort of hobbling along the ring to do the pumping bomber at the end there, which reminded me it's a bit of a deep cut, but Suzuki against Tanahashi at KOPW 2012, I think it was. But really intricately crafted match, near perfect in its pacing and its execution. It's, your archetypal New Japan big match main event, all the near falls, all the reversals, particularly the closing sequence there with the Zack driver near fall kick out into the knee submission. But I really think it was Shingo selling that created most of the drama in those final moments. He's clutching hopelessly at the referee. He's biting his own hand until he's got no choice but to tap. Just outstanding job getting the crowd invested, but also making Zack look like a killer. And yeah, like you said before, Shingo, I think he's just too good not to be used in these sorts of matches in high-level spots. Like, he might not get another world title run, but he's just so damn good when he needs to be. And also want to throw some flowers at Walker Stewart with that little line at the end where he said, "Some dreams are meant to stay dreams." I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah, that was a good line, actually. It was pretty good. What a masterclass, right? What a just a fucking masterclass of work and getting people invested in a match and building and the idea of Zack just being this fucking wrecking machine and just being, here's what I really loved. There are people say, all right, this is the same Zack match, and you work one Zack match, you work them all, and blah 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 blah. To me, okay, there's a certain tone to that, I would say, but there are a myriad of different melodies that he has using that same tone, if you get my point. And here's a perfect example of one that built, and the finish didn't just fucking pop up out of nowhere. Like, it was built, and the drama was there. And yeah, he just came across as this fucking deadly, like boa constrictor, where, if you take a fucking wrong turn and the more that you struggle, the worse it's going to be for you. And as you start flailing, I'm going to grab a limb and we're going to fucking make it even worse for you. Yeah, I don't want this to be the fucking take down our pants and jack off over Zack. Pretty hot podcast, but to me, the idea of him going through these matches in a almost like you could read his mind in the sense of how systematic he is in going through the steps needed to get you invested in a match, rope you in, keep you there, and have you, even though, here's a perfect example. Even though Zack is probably my favorite New Japan pro wrestler, probably my favorite pro wrestler, period. The way that they construct and build a match with him in it, and a lot of it has to do with how he does what he does. He makes people want to root for the underdog and get out of it and find a way to the ropes or fucking reverse this, or you wind up doing that. And I don't know if that's just because I want more, don't give the fuck up yet. Or it's, oh God, this guy is fucked. Like, you're watching one of those, you're watching a fly go into the Venus flytrap. And as it's bouncing around the fucking walls of the plant, you're like, come on, fly, find a fucking way out. And it ain't happening. You're done. That's as maybe sadistic as this sounds, like that's the magic of a Zack match of, oh my God, he got caught. Oh my God, he's in the fucking web. Oh fuck, he's dinner tonight. That's, to me, that is so interesting and so much fun. And that's Zack. And then you add Shingo in the mix, who's just a fucking pro's pro and knows how to do, what to do, when to do. Like, that's magic in the ring. To me, it was one of my favorite matches of the tournament, hands down.
And then the following night, the final was Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Yota Tsuji 31 minutes and 4 seconds via Clarky Cat, which is a reference to the fantastic British UK comedy series Brass Eye. If you've not seen it, strongly recommend watching it. Zack Sabre Jr. wins the Grade 1 Climax for the first time. Damon, you go first. What did you think of the match and the significance of Zack finally winning this?
I actually couldn't believe it, truth be told. It felt too good to be true, and it felt like, all right, well, it looks like it's Yota, and here we go. Like, this is the beginning of great things, and he's obviously the guy, and let's just do this. And it would have been great for Zack to win, but yeah, I get it. I understand why we're doing what we're doing, and you know what? I don't have any problems with it. And then, lo and behold, first of all, 30 minutes. Did it feel like 30 minutes to you? It did not feel like 30 minutes to me. I swear to you, when Red Shoes went for the bell, I was like...
The 20-minute call, I was like, no, it's not. There's some mistake here.
Right. I was like, wait, what? And I love that. I love the fact that it wasn't this big move, kick out at 1. I'm going to fucking Hulk up. Woo, here we go. I'm going to hit my big move. Boom, kick out at 2. Boom, reversal. It wasn't that. It was, I'm going to fucking destroy you, right? I'm going to lock you in once again and just fucking every time you struggle and move, I'm going to grab that limb and hook on something else and make it a little tighter. I loved it.
Good, wasn't it? Each time Tsuji looked like he might edge towards a rope break, Zack was just tying up one limb at a time. Zack would just snatch up that limb until he literally had all 4 tied up, and Tsuji realized he was absolutely fucked.
Yeah, he was toast. Yeah, like, to me, those type of things. Like, I would be so thrilled if somebody, the god of pro wrestling, came down and said, all right, I'm forever banishing the 1 count, the big move 1 count. I would be thrilled, because I feel like it's so overdone at this point. Like, once something is cool, then you just get a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy. Kind of like with this podcast. Then you get Zack matches where it's, again, the drama and the build, the 1 counts, if you will, are something as, I'm struggling, I'm going to find a way out. Oh, I got my arm free, and I'm fucked. He hooked my fucking feet to my, like, he tied my fucking, like, Zack is what Sonata's Paradise Lock is supposed to be. You know what I mean? Like as much as we fucking loathe that stupid Paradise Lock, and we're like, anybody could get the fuck out of it. And, like, just roll over. Just fucking roll over. You'll be fine. Like, he is the cool equivalent of that. Like, he is the thing that is like, that's what you meant, Sonata? Okay, got it. And the idea of just, again, you're flailing, you're trying to get out, you're fighting with everything you've got, and now I'm hooked even worse. That to me, that gives me a fucking boner. I love it. And again, I was shocked. Like again, I sat here and said, what, how long ago? Fucking February? Zack, let's go. Zack's your guy. Give it to Zack. Have him win G1. Let's fucking go. And he did it. They did it. They did it. Collectively, they did it. I don't know. I really feel like somebody listens to this podcast.
From what we hear, that a lot of people, most people were very happy with the result there. Zack's win was very popular backstage. He's well respected by everyone, not just for the quality of his wrestling, but just the way he conducts himself. So I don't want, using the word deserve is a tricky one, because I think, you need to earn these wins, but he feels like he's absolutely earned it just for everything that he's done for the company and how reliable he's been, especially during the pandemic where, a lot of people were not able to be there. And he was there, putting in the grinds, doing the stuff with Dangerous Techers, but everything that he has done to such a high standard that it just feels like a no-brainer that he would be the guy you'd anoint as the ace of the company right now.
Right. Like here's the thing too. Like if you said, I don't like that style, it doesn't do anything for me. I mean, I would kind of like, okay, dude, whatever. But it's like, I guess it's subjective like music, I guess. But even then I'd be like, okay. Like even with that said, like name me a fucking, even in the lean years and even in the fucking clap crowds and even in all of it, like the guy, like everything that he gets involved in turns instantly better. Like, you want me to be in a tag team? Great. I'm going to take Tai Chi and we're going to be great. Sounds good. They did it. Oh, you want me to fucking start my own faction with these guys who, might not be the biggest household names in the world, and we'll throw Robbie Eagles in the mix as well? Okay, great. I'll make that great too. Great. Oh, you need me to main event big shows and add a level of legitimacy to a feud that is, years in the making? Great. I'll make that great too. The
TV championship run?
TV championship run. I'll make that great too. It's like
learning Japanese.
How about that? Let's talk about that for a second. I mean, look, we know people that live in that country and try to their best to acclimate and learn that language, which, is not the easiest of languages to learn. He sounded fantastic. He sounded like here's the thing too. And it does kind of fall back on how, you're kind of not taught, but you kind of learn from other people that, if you're a Japanese student, you do learn a little English, but a lot of times, they're embarrassed by it. It might be a strong suit. So they might, try not to okay, well, reverse that. If you have been studying and learning and trying and practicing, and again, immersion is a big thing, I'm sure, being there and having it all around you and being bombarded with it to pick it up and to learn, it's still not that easy. And to be able to get on a microphone in front of, thousands of people and speak the language is fucking commendable. Like, you can't, seriously, that is, and truth be told, one of the big things that helped Kenny get as big as he did, especially in New Japan, was that ability. Like that alone, that ability is huge. And Zack said, all right, fuck it. Give me the textbook. Give me Genki. Give me Genki 1 and 2 and give me my Anki flashcards and let me fucking study. And he did it.
And give me some weights because he's packed on the muscle as well.
He has bulked up a little bit. He is vegan. So I hope that I was going to say the chemicals are meat free. That's terrible. I wouldn't assume that. Maybe he's working very hard. No, I was, and here's the thing too. I don't know how you feel about it. Like, I was legitimately proud of New Japan and I was proud of Zack. Like, he's a person where I'm not embarrassed to have my wife sit there and watch pro wrestling. And the fact that did you hear the post match and how he talked about, his time in the dungeons of Blackpool or whatever the fuck it was, learning the ropes, probably without ropes, probably on dirty fucking concrete floors, and building up to, being who he is today. I thought that interview was really solid, just really, and again, honest and genuine, and that all the things we like about pro wrestling. And that's the thing too about him. Like, it feels to me that he is honest and genuine. Like, again, what we're doing is we're amplifying certain character traits in his personality because it is pro wrestling. He just comes across as genuine and legitimate and one of those people that you could fucking hitch a wagon to. Yeah, I'm super happy. Now, does this all equate to a big boy belt? Oh, I fucking hope so. Oh, I fucking hope so. I really do. Like, if there's anybody in this company that I would like to see have that title, I'm totally down with it. I get the fact that could there be doubts of him being a focal point for the company and a draw and all that shit? I don't know. You see that post-match celebration? That was pretty fun. Him just fucking hopping in the crowds, going in those awfully uncomfortable boxes and just fucking taking that trophy around. Seemed to me the people
were
roar
from the crowd. Like, I don't know if you watched it back. That moment where Tsuji submits, there's like this big guttural roar from the crowd. Like, it kind of reminded me like of an English football crowd. And it was a great crowd all round. You know, they were cheering for Tsuji when he was making his comeback, cheering for Zack when he was making his comeback. So just a fantastic crowd overall. But I've not heard a noise like that from a New Japan crowd for a long time.
I mean, the only thing missing were a couple of fucking Kangol bucket hats and like an Oasis show, for crying out loud. All the fucking punters, if you will. It was good. They popped. They were going. I don't know. I think everybody was really thrilled with it. I really do. I think people in the crowd, and trust me, I haven't heard one person bitch and moan about, oh, they shouldn't have done it with Zack, of all people, blah, blah, blah. I think he represents the company well. I think the company, here's what it is. We have a direction. Do I know what the fuck the direction is? No. Does Joel? No. Does who? No. But it feels like we have an absolute direction. I like the fact that the guy that has the rocket had to take a little step back. There's nothing wrong. He was in the finals. I love the fact that they went with Zack, and I don't know. It's going to be an interesting autumn. I really do. I think it's going to be so much fun. And I love the fact that he's going to challenge, in a building that it means a lot more to him than the fucking empty dome, the cavernous dome. He doesn't give a fuck. Great. I'm sure that plays into some storyline. We'll see what happens from there. But I don't know. Overall, dude, like I said, I don't think I've had as much fun watching a G1 as I had watching this one. Were there a pile of great moments? There were. Were there matches that you would just fucking ooze over in, rewatching? I think there were a couple that yes, I would put in that category. And I think I think they did smart things. I really do. I think they did smart things. And I'll finish with this. I don't think that there was a person, and again, your mileage may vary on who you like, who you don't like, who's your favorite, who's somebody that you would normally fucking fast forward. I don't think there is one person that came out of G1 looking worse than when they entered. I think everybody took a step forward, and that I couldn't have been happier for.
There are a couple of touching tributes as well from Zack, both in the match and after the match. He did the Figure 4 jackknife, which is a little tribute to the recently retired Yoshinori Ogawa, who he's got lots of history with. And he also mentioned Andre Baker afterwards, who founded Hammerlock Wrestling in the 1990s. He's credited as one of the men who planted the seeds for the modern UK wrestling scene's revival. Trained people like Doug Williams and Finn Balor and the like. But I mean, you said bitching and moaning, Damon. That said, we've said all these nice things about Zack. If you follow online fan discourse, when you're as clued in on the voice of the internet wrestling community, like I am, Damon, you'd know that Zack Sabre Jr. has lost something important, something that fans have been clamoring for him to find for about 4 years now. I'm sensing some uneasiness from you, Damon. I don't know where you think this is going. It's not fucking going anywhere near that. No, it's not worth it. No way. I've got kids. I don't want the grief, right? I know what you're thinking, Damon. You're going, it is about that. It's a clever double bluff, Joel. It's fucking not about that. No way. It's not worth it. This is not about that. It's about this. So settle down. Zack Sabre Jr. has always been an outspoken man. He talks a lot, makes a lot of promises, presents himself as the people's champion, but his actions, or lack thereof, haven't always supported that image he likes to portray. When at crucial moments, the fans have been looking to him to back up his words, prove himself, make a statement. Yeah. Damon, I've said, haven't I? I've said, what part of it's not about that It's not fucking worth it. It's all right for you, Dave, with your secret locked private Twitter account. No one sees that. Every time I talk about Zack Sabre Jr. online, all hell breaks loose. I didn't know. I mean, I immediately mute all my inflammatory tweets. Someone else messaged me and said, Oh, Joel, it's awful what's happened about you, that tweet you did, and that's made everyone all angry and hate you. And then I said, you're going to have to be more specific than that. And they said, oh, is this your tweet saying that Zack Sabre Jr. is good and that? And I looked, and I had all these people very, very cross with me for not making a public statement saying that Zack Sabre Jr. is bad, even though I hadn't actually done anything wrong. People were irrationally upset with me, an innocent third party, simply for not making a big Twitter note statement condemning Zack Sabre Jr. You know what, don't forget it. I told you, it's not about that. It's not worth it. What it's about is Zack Sabre Jr. being a fraud, a charlatan, a liar, a hypocrite. Where the fuck is this new techno theme you promised us? You see? Wasn't what you thought. It was a music joke. It was a music Damon joke. You like those, don't you?
I love them. Trust me. I'm sitting here swallowing my my bile, just like, oh boy, we're fucked.
I'm going to move on. I want to talk about Yota Tsuji for a bit. Yes. Unknown Untold says, as good as the G1 final was, do you see Tsuji's cardio limiting him as a main eventer? That has been an issue I've raised in the past, but let's look at his previous 4 matches and the time frame for this. So August 14th, 11 minutes against Jeff Cobb. August 15th, 21 minutes versus Takeshita. August 17th, 28 minutes versus Finlay. And August 18th, 30 minutes versus Zack. I didn't see any major issues there. I didn't see... I mean, wrestlers can always improve their cardio. It's not going to hurt if he improves his conditioning, but I didn't see any matches there falling apart down the stretch because I thought, wow, this guy's sucking wind. He's really out of shape. And you mentioned it before. I think it's really interesting how many big spots they've given Tsuji so far. He's had a Dominion main event for his comeback match, a New Japan Cup win. He's had a Sakura Genesis main event at Sumo Hall. He's been G1 Climax runner-up, also main eventing Sumo Hall. And that says a lot because they're clearly working overtime to load up Yota Tsuji with big match experience and exposure. And of course, there's the narrative aspect of it about, he's not able to win the big one. But I'm seeing this more as a figure out the New Japan big match, epic main event style as quick as you can angle to this. And also getting the fans used to seeing him in those big spots, big venues, delivering top quality matches. And like I said before, very, very good gate for the final. So I think it's working. And I know there's that theory, which I was a proponent of over a year ago, that each of the young guys like Tsuji, Umino, Narita, Uemura, they're all going to get a different thing to distinguish them, a different treat. But I don't think that's true anymore. I just think Tsuji's their guy. It's like they're pumping all their XP points into Yota Tsuji. Yeah.
Yeah. And, look, I think there is a bit of an asterisk here that we need to put on this, is that, we were crying for a long time for New Japan to fucking get it going. And one could make an argument that, hey, we came out of this COVID situation and clap crowds and empty arenas and all the stuff that we had to put up with, and just fucking make him a star and let's just go. What do we got to lose? Balls to the wall. And I'm not saying that what they did was right, but where they are now is, and really it feels like this is rather recently, what you've done is you've taken a guy and you've gotten him, one, acclimated to the brighter spotlight, right? Which, again, is a lot harder than working, second or third from the top in a fucking tag match. Listen, in the words of somebody else who has famously been canceled many times, these things take time. I won't do his voice. These things take time. Look it up. It's a very good song. Smiths. But make no mistake about it. Like, aside from a singles title around his waist, we're done. We're kind of done in the, okay, let's prep everyone to make this guy a star. He is a star now. He is a main part of the show. Like, he's a top guy. Is he the top guy? Is he top 3, 4? Again, we can have these conversations until the fucking cows come home. He's a guy now. Like, you don't give a guy New Japan Cup and a G1 final in the same fucking year unless you're really serious. And all the main events that he's had and the title shot. Like, he's not a guy that's won the big one. Okay, great, fantastic. He's got a New Japan Cup under his belt. And 2, like, these things take time. And it's totally, I'm totally fucking cool with like his 2024. Let's put it that way. Would I love to have seen it quicker? Probably. If I'm not, I don't want to be a hypocrite and sit here and and blow smoke up everyone's ass at New Japan. I think here's what I really think. As if I wouldn't have said it before, what I really think. This is what I really think. You have a person and people and whatever offshoot of amount of human beings in that office that are focused on a common goal. And maybe we had a bit of a rudderless ship for a couple of years. And maybe we had people that were making decisions that probably shouldn't be making pro wrestling decisions, right? Probably. And I hate to say this, but I don't hate to say this. I'll now ask you, Joel. We see the pictures. We hear the people. We see the tracksuit at ringside. How much do you think this is due to the man known as the Great Kukuch? How much stock do you put in that?
All the people that I speak to involved with New Japan at various levels talk about how influential Kikuchi is. So I can't handwave that. I think I know he became a bit of a meme, but I genuinely believe that he is a serious player. Now, he's not the main guy. He's not the main booker of the company.
No.
But I believe, from what we've heard, he has a lot of influence, particularly with a sort of main event tier long-term storytelling. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when he came back, then things started to look a bit more coherent and have a bit more direction.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think there's any coincidence that the greatest, or at least one of the greatest eras of New Japan Pro Wrestling was really on the back of his creative ideas and him being back in the fold. Like you can feel it. You can feel it. So I think that's a positive that New Japan said, hey, you know what? Okay. Maybe we do need this dude. And it's all those things being put together. Look, are we back to 2019 levels, 2018 levels, 2017 levels? No, we're not. But if that's the expectation, that's going to be really fucking hard, because what you're asking for, give me the greatest pro wrestling that we've seen in our lifetime again, and that's a tough ask. But can you get us close? Can we fight for that? Can that be the goal? Can that be the feeling? Can that be the magic that brought a lot of people to New Japan? I think we're on our way. And that's a good feeling. Like, it feels like we are the young club that maybe is out kicking the coverage a little bit, and maybe not. Maybe we're right where we need to be, but it feels like you think we're smoking now. Wait till next year, and wait until next year. Like it's an exciting time, and not for nothing. All those empty seats of those rats that jumped ship, rats. Again, you can like wrestling however you want to enjoy it and do whatever you want. You're a rat. You didn't stick it out, and you're not welcome back. Go try and get home from Wembley.
This is my idea, Damon, right? What I think new fans should have to answer an entry quiz about the Summer Struggle 2021 tour in order to be given access to Japan World.
I would fail. I'd be like, I have no idea. Yeah, but it feels good. I will say this. It does feel good. So, yeah, look, we're cooking. We're cooking. We got some title defenses coming up. We got Zack in the mix. We got Yota in the mix. We've got, I don't know, we're set up for good shit coming up in the autumn, that's for sure.
Well, let's unpick Zack Sabre Jr. calling his shot. So he wants to have his IWGP World Title match not at Wrestle Kingdom, but at King of Pro Wrestling in October. So he's challenged Naito, or whoever has the championship at that point at King of Pro Wrestling. So the reason he's given for that, he's given several reasons. He says that waiting until January is boring. He says Ryogoku is his favourite venue and he wants to win the title there. He says he wants to defend the title at Royal Quest and just wants to come out as champion at the Dome. So a lot of questions on this. Flynn says, what are your thoughts on the challenge coming at King of Pro Wrestling this year? I think it is a big improvement as it makes the title picture, which is usually stale for months after G1, much more exciting. William Omega 12 says, do you think New Japan decided to have Naito versus Zack before the Dome because they don't think it will draw at the level needed for the Dome? In-Ring Art says, do you think challenging at KOPW was Zack's idea or is it New Japan doing it because they have no idea what they want the Wrestle Kingdom main event to be? Jersey Joe Gotch says, is there any way even Gedo or Bushiroad can screw this up? I mean, Zack is winning the IWGP, right? The Novelist says Zack challenging for the title at KOPW was awesome. Do you think he gets the title off Naito, then walks into the Tokyo Dome IWGP heavyweight champion? If so, who do you want to see him main event against? And Multiverse says, what is going to be the main event of Wrestle Kingdom? So I'll put all those together because I think they all go hand in hand. Yeah. And yeah, I'd be very interested to hear your thoughts because I can come up with several reasons why this calling the shot early might serve multiple purposes. I mean, people I've spoken to in the company have said that having the G1 winner challenge at the Dome was a big booking handcuff. So it could just be, this is not something that was set in stone. This is not some big time honoured tradition. It was something that has been around since, I don't know, what was it, 2012 or something? It's not something that's, it's not entrenched in the history of New Japan. It's up to them to redefine the parameters of, how they book their biggest show of the year. It separates the Grade 1 Climax from the Wrestle Kingdom main event to allow the G1 win prestige to stand for itself. Although I understand your mileage may vary on that. There's a lot of people who would argue that the G1 win now loses prestige because it's not automatically coupled with that Tokyo Dome main event. I think it does make booking for the rest of the year more interesting and less predictable than already having the Wrestle Kingdom main event locked in. It will help, I think, pop a bigger gate for King of Pro Wrestling, where there's people might be more likely to see a title change there. I think it pops a bigger gate for Royal Quest with the potential of seeing Zack Sabre Jr. enter as champion and defend that belt. I think it could also potentially throw out Naito for something else at Wrestle Kingdom. A lot of people are speculating about Naito versus Hiromu, maybe for the never openweight title. It could be a case that Naito and the company agreed that maybe Naito had less time on top than he realised, and they really wanted to get to that Naito-Hiromu match at the Dome as soon as possible. So that could be a factor, although that's, there's a lot of guesswork involved in that. And if that is the case, like if they do something like Naito-Hiromu in the semi-main spot at Wrestle Kingdom, then they could do something a bit more ambitious with the main event, like maybe have one of the young guys challenging Zack. People forget that one of the reasons they went with Kenny Omega versus Kazuchika Okada at Wrestle Kingdom 11 was because they had Naito against Tanahashi for the IC title in the semi spot. That was the big dream match there, and that I think did a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the ticket sales there. And I also think it is worth considering that Wrestle Dynasty show on January 5th, because I think that is a serious factor. And from what I hear, New Japan are going in big. They're trying to get as many of those top AEW names as they can. I don't know if they'll get them all, but I'm thinking people like Okada, Omega, Ospreay, Jay White, Danielson, Mercedes. So obviously that's going to have a knock-on effect for matchmaking, finding out who's available, what does that matchmaking look like, who's going over, are titles involved. So there are a lot of moving parts there. And as you know, the politics of negotiating that stuff is very tricky. So with all that said, and 2 Dome shows to sell, maybe they just figured that locking in Naito versus Zack this early wasn't a smart move. But what do you make of that decision?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we could sit here and fantasy book it to once again the cows come home. I think overall, I just hope we get Okada back at the Dome, and he says "bitch" on the microphone, and then walks out. So
well, I wouldn't pick up on that because some people have said that it could be Okada versus Zack. Like Zack has never beaten Okada in Japan. Maybe this could be Okada coming back to finally put over Zack in the Tokyo Dome main event and give Zack that credibility. I understand the logic, but I'm not sure I'm comfortable with the idea of New Japan going cap in hand back to Okada with the way things ended, saying, "Oh, please, sir, can you help us sell out the Tokyo Dome?"
Okay,
I think I would prefer, if you want Okada to do something, save that for January 5th. I feel like January 4th should be one of the New Japan guys, and ideally one of the younger guys. But I don't know. What would you make on the whole situation?
I mean, there's arguments to be made, right? I'm going to be honest. I don't have a problem. I don't have problem one if Okada wants to come back and put over Zack. Like, I would have zero problem with that. At Wrestle Kingdom, like, it's one show and it's a big building, and why not jam as many fucking people in the building as we can? And if we want to keep Zack with the title, excellent. We want Hiromu and Naito. I'm down, totally down. I mean, that's one way to go. The other way is Naito fucking successfully defends in both cases. But what you've done is you've set up King of Pro Wrestling, which usually is, well, is this a must watch? Because we know that this guy ain't fucking headlining the Dome. Like, how many years have we gone through this guy ain't headlining the fucking Dome? So there's no way the title's changing hands. And you're hoping for the briefcase to be, change hands. And, like,
they fucked that already, though. I mean, they've done so much schmozzy with double dashes and Ibushi losing the briefcase and then Naito letting him have the shot anyway. I feel the prestige of that sort of earning and having a locked-in Wrestle Kingdom main event, that ship has sailed for me.
Right. I think what you mentioned about how there is a hard press to have a lot of names, from what we understand. No names have been given to us, but like the word on the street is like there's a full court press to get names. This isn't going to be fucking Billy Gunn showing up in the fucking Rumble. This is going to, they're working some big names. That said, I mean, here's the thing. The idea, and again, we're fantasy booking here, so I want to be very clear. Nothing has been given to us that this is the case. But you mean to tell me for one night, Okada comes back for the first time since his departure, and people are going to be like, well, if he's coming back, there's no way he's fucking losing, not with Tony Khan and not with blah, blah, blah. And okay, now there's the intrigue of who's going
though to all the full-time guys seeing Okada just moonwalk back into the company and get the biggest match of the year. Isn't that sort of like a kick in the teeth for all the people that stayed and worked so hard to rebuild New Japan since he left?
It is, to a certain degree, but all those guys that might feel a little sad, I might feel a little left out, I might feel a little blue. Is there anybody with a bigger fucking main event stroke than him, than Okada? Like, if you can name me one guy that would be a better fit aside from better than Okada in that role. And again, we're fantasy booking here, so let's fucking pump the brakes, everyone. I know everyone's losing their skull. This is not a pastrami sandwich moment. This is not a Damon knows something and he's trying to fucking weasel his way around to not actually say what he fucking is trying. And that's not one of these. But is there a guy on that roster that's a bigger name than Okada?
I just think it's important to keep those two things separate. You have
Zack wins.
Well, no, I'm saying you have all your AEW crossover dream matches at Wrestle Dynasty on the 5th, but I just feel January 4th that you could have the AEW guys in like tag matches to set up on January 4th, but I feel for the integrity of the company that January 4th main event has got to be two full-time New Japan guys.
Okay, I'm down.
Unless it's Konosuke Takeshita. If they can get Takeshita back, then yeah, I'll have that. I'll let that slide.
Okay, fine. okay, so that's one side of the coin, though. The other side of the coin is, okay, is it Yota Tsuji? Like, are we going to go that route?
That's it. I don't know who it is. I don't have an answer. This is where the whole thing falls apart. Because if you put the gun to my head and say, "What is the Wrestle Kingdom main event?" I don't know. I have no idea.
Right, and that's fun. Now,
I said before, Taichi should be Taichi.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't we hear a little rumblings about him?
Yeah, he's not a happy man.
Yeah,
rightly so.
Yeah, you know.
It's not going to be Taichi. He's not main eventing the Tokyo Dome, even though he should, and that would be the correct thing to do. That's not happening. It could be Tsuji. You could be Tsuji, finally getting his win there. It could be. I can't see Shota. I think he's just got a lot of work to do. I don't. Yuya probably too soon. I don't know the extent of his elbow injury, but I've heard it's pretty rough. And then it's a struggle. Goto. Let's get Goto and his kids there again.
Here's what they have, and again. Do they have guys that are talented and on the way up? Absolutely. Will a lot of those guys that you mentioned be main eventing Tokyo Dome, Wrestle Kingdoms? Absolutely. For the first time in a long time, like I feel like there are so many different forks in the road that I don't know if I take the sharp left, the soft left, the go straight left. Like you can go a million different directions. But I think the cool thing, the thing that's closest to us is one. Royal Quest, right? 2, King of Pro Wrestling, like those things happening around us. Like for the first time in quite a long time that I can remember, like King of Pro Wrestling is now must-watch television. Like it's a must-watch show. Whereas, it might be a good show, but no, like again, how many fucking years have we sat through Okada versus Evil? And we're like, well, Evil's not fucking winning this title. And even though he wound up winning and we get the thing, but like nobody thought that was going to happen. So yeah, it's exciting. Like, because here's the thing. People, and count myself in that, like if I'm putting down money and I had a bet, like, I don't think it's preposterous for him to win the title. I really don't think it's like insanity. And as much as we want to sit here and say, okay, well, who's the guy that's going to be the guy that can main event Wrestle Kingdom? Not for nothing. We're going to have so much fucking talent in that city on that weekend, or that week, whatever the 4th falls and 5th. Like, a possibility, there's a lot of possibilities of who can fucking headline this show. While, again, I'm with you and I understand it and I agree with you to a large degree of let's keep it pure. Let's keep it, New Japan. This is our big show. We want, like, there are a lot of options on the table. And I think this King of Pro Wrestling show is a great way to kind of not reveal the cards. Because guess what? You're right. Post G1 and, get King of Pro Wrestling and then we got to sit through fucking World Tag League and, it's not the juiciest of times. You're just kind of treading water to the dome. Zach's right. He instantly spiced things up. Instantly spiced up what is traditionally okay, let's just fucking again tread water to the dome. Like that's all off the table right now. Like that's once again, we don't know. So we've said it 1,000 times. That's the most exciting part about being a pro wrestling fan is, okay, what direction are they going to go? And when you have multiple options that all equally make sense, like that's fucking cool. Like, and you can debate and talk with your friends and listen to this dopey show and listen to other dopey shows talking about, okay, what could possibly be? And guess what? The cool part is that I might have an opinion and Joel might say something that says, oh, I didn't really see that as a possibility, but that sounds really fucking awesome. And then you go listen to fucking, whatever, Okada Shorts. What is it now? It's not Okada Shorts. Who are they now?
Ichiban Sweetcast.
Ichiban Sweetcast, right. You can go listen to those guys, and they might have different things to kind of figure out how to get from point A to point B and be like, oh, okay, I never thought of that. That's pretty cool. And then you might listen to fucking Lanza and Craich, and they might have idea and be like, oh, okay, that's an interesting fucking take too. So, like, that's what's exciting. That's what I'm most excited of. I'm not like the possibilities are endless. It feels like, and like to me, that's exciting. That's more exciting than anything else.
Louis says, Joel, will you be attending Royal Quest to get a live report from the show? And Matthew says, is Zack bringing the title home for Royal Quest? And what do you think the early challenge means for the main event? Will we have to wait until October 15th to find out? I came 616th in G1 Pick'em, so I'll refrain from prognosticating. I think I will probably go to Royal Quest, although it's in Crystal Palace, which I don't know why they've not done it in the Copper Box, because Crystal Palace, from what I hear, is an absolute ball ache to get to. But I'll probably go. I do feel that if Zack does not go into that show as world champion, then he's going to look like a little bit of a twat. So I think he will go in as champion, and I'm not sure. I think, well, if it's Zack in the main event defending the world title, I don't care. You can throw a dart at a list of names of the New Japan roster, and whoever it lands on, you're going to get a great main event. So I've no fears about that whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I mean, imagine that fucking building. I mean, seriously, that place will be, as the kids would say, en fuego. It will have, dare I say, I sound like Donald Trump. He had the Riz. The Riz. Is it Riz? It is Riz, isn't it? That's what the kids say. Riz, right?
That is what the kids say. Yes.
All right. Kids are stupid. I hate stupid kids.
I don't know why you're asking me.
And their stupid cauliflower haircut. When did that happen? When the
It's not got a name, that haircut. Isn't it called Meet Me at McDonald's?
Meet Me at
McDonald's. Someone told me that.
I don't know what that means. I just hate that. I hate this silly. And here's the problem. Like, so I went to that. I told you about the Fanatic Fest in New York and all that stuff. Sports collectibles and autographs and all that stuff. Saw my favorite hockey player, Austin Matthews. Picture, autograph. I had to take out a fucking second mortgage on the house. Every dopey kid. Like, so if I say the name Tom Brady, do you know who Tom Brady is, right?
Yes, I do know who he is.
Yeah, he is.
I think I've actually watched some gridiron matches featuring
Whoa,
Tom Brady.
Listen to you. Fucking Brent Musburger over here. You're not going to get that. Maybe some people will. So he was there. And he was going from point A to point B in this gigantic convention center. And you knew he was walking because you just saw the swarm of like 14, 16-year-olds, all with the stupid cauliflower haircut, with their phones in the air, getting their fucking content for their TikTok page. And I'm just like, ugh. By the way, he had more security than the president. He had some of the biggest security people around him, and just circled around him as he walked from point A to point B. That was hilarious. I got a cheeky picture. I'll send it to you of him. And I just stood there, just took out my phone. Said, it's Tom Brady. But here's the thing, Tom Brady. I talked to him many times. I'm an important sports media figure. I have already talked to these people, so no big deal for me. But let me see if I can send this to you. So I'll send this to you. You can continue on as I just fucking talk bullshit.
Right, William Omega 12 says, do you think New Japan should avoid using guest stars for Wrestle Kingdom 19?
No.
I think New Japan should try to see what is the best possible card they can make up with the roster they have for the Dome. Not counting Hiromu versus Naito, what's the biggest match New Japan can pull for Wrestle Kingdom? So we touched on that already, but yeah, putting you on the spot, Damon, give me, if you are in charge of booking the biggest match that you can, that is not Hiromu and Naito. Let's, again, we speculate here. Let's say Hiromu and Naito is locked in. What are you plugging in as the main event with two New Japan guys to sell the most tickets?
And Takeshi, I can't use him, right? I can't use him.
No, not that.
Rats. Biggest main event? I mean, you have to include, I would think Naito would be in that mix, right?
No, not allowed to. We
that's
Naito
right.
and Hiromu. Oh. Yeah, that's the caveat.
Oh, fuck me. You're putting Yota Tsuji against a fucking name. What that name is, who that name is, and it has to be a New Japan guy right now.
Shingo?
Or maybe Shingo. Yeah.
Or Zack? Is Zack in? No.
Yeah. No. I mean, you could do Zack and Yota for the title. Why not? Rematch G1 final.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that's where I would go. Yeah, if I can't use
Violet Skipping says, with it accepted that Forbidden Door is an AEW show with New Japan talent, and the frequent remarks over the years of Forbidden Door being a US show and anything in Japan having to be something different. Do you think Wrestle Dynasty, January 5th, will be a New Japan show with AEW talent, or will the power balance in the relationship dictate it being more of a genuine co-promotion or something else entirely? I do see it as that. As I said, I think it's going to be a New Japan show with AEW talent. I think it will be very different in flavor and style and structure to Forbidden Door.
Absolutely. And it has to be. It has to be. Like, I understand the power dynamics in pro wrestling on who gets fucked with whatever relationship. Like, we put it right in fucking Noah's ass. We've put it in Ring of Honor's ass. Guess what? AEW fucking dry right in the ass for us. We get it all the time. We get the power bounce. This is home turf though. Like, there has to be. And here's the thing: the undercard, I wouldn't have a problem with certain guys going over and certain, you know what I mean? Like, I'm fine. But when you get past, you get to that, top 4 matches, like, we have to have clear defined. Here's where our guys are going over. If your guys are going to be involved, and you know what? I'd like to say the same thing about the 5th. The 5th is a little bit more of a hodgepodge of different promotions. So there is a lot more we can do to have people lose and look good and protect. The one thing I will absolutely agree with you, while I don't necessarily need to have it be Wrestle Kingdom, New Japan guy main event, I will say, and even at their height, New Japan is not shy from using other talent as main events, from different promotions. They've done it many times. I mean, Christ, back in the day, Hogan was headlining Fukuoka Dome shows. I think the 5th, you have a little bit more wiggle room. The 4th, yeah. I mean, again, I don't care. I don't have necessarily a bigger problem with another guy in another promotion being in the main event if it helps us sell tickets. But to be very clear, this needs to be a night that New Japan shines.
My copium will be Takeshita announcing sometime in the autumn that he signed with New Japan. Debuting as he's the new leader of United Empire or whatever.
Can I fantasy book?
Yeah.
Zack wins, right? Defends, successfully, what have you. I don't know where, when, how. The logistics, I don't know. He sneak attacks Zack and challenges for the title lead.
Yes. So at Sumo Hall,
let's fucking
Zack is lifting up the belt, and as he's lifting up the belt, Takeshita jumps in from behind.
Come on. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm
okay. I'm going to throw one more name at you. Give me percentage chance.
Jake Lee.
That this guy's involved. Ryohei Bullseye Oiwa. He's tearing it up in Pro Wrestling Noah.
Involved or main event?
Main event.
No, not yet.
No. Okay, probably not.
All right. Good try.
Keep in mind. All right, let's dig into some other stuff that's going on around New Japan. So there was, I suppose it might be a bit generous to call this an angle involving El Phantasmo, where House of Torture were inviting him to join them, and he's turned it down, and he's thrown his lot in with Hontai. And I've seen a lot of mixed responses for that. A lot of people saying it was cheesy and daft. A lot of people saying that the home fans, the domestic fans loved it and really enjoyed that and enjoy seeing ELP being a good guy. So it seems that he is aligned with Hontai now and possibly teaming with Shota Umino. Who, I don't know if you saw Shota Umino terrifying that poor little girl, making her cry. Lost in Ube says, also, what to do with El Phantasmo? I wanted him in LIJ, but then Tsuji came along. Does he need a change of scenery? Mikey says, how far is the gap between Shota and Tsuji at this point? And do you think there's any way to retool the baby scarer? So, yeah, what do you think of the prospects of ELP? Well, it is happening, but ELP joining Hontai, ELP and Shota doing something together. Is that something that's exciting you? Because at the moment, to answer Mikey's questions, Shota feels like he's light years behind Tsuji. And I don't know, ELP Shota tag team, it's not doing it for me. I can understand why that might be appealing to a certain type of New Japan, a domestic New Japan fan, though.
Dorks. Okay, I don't know.
Children, losers, women.
Ew. Women like pro wrestling. Kidding, everyone. Relax. Well, one, I think it was, look, whether it was the company's decision or his decision or, I don't know, whatever, however the moons aligned. Thank God he's not in House of Torture. Talk about career suicide. I mean, to go from one to another. Now, again,
excuse me, work for Jack Perry.
Oh, my bad. Yeah, sure. What is he? Did you see the video of him forging his own belt?
That was sick. That was really good.
Yeah. I was like, oh, great. He's a craftsman. Look, it's a bit of a holding pattern, right? It doesn't seem like. Look, the proof is in the pudding, if you will, that the man can deliver great matches. Granted, the dance partner he had was the MVP of G1, but like that match fucking was great. It ruled. You know it's there. You know it's there. You know it's there. It's not him. It's what the fuck are we going to do with him? And the idea of another tag situation is not ideal. It's not. But trust me, to me, it's better than fucking House of Torture. I'm sorry. I don't care what kind of push he would have gotten in House of Torture. I just don't see how that would be a good thing. I don't know. I mean, we sit here and we talk about, okay, Ren, when is this going to end? And kind of like nobody's like, oh well, yeah, career House of Torture guy, Ren Narita. No one wants that. So again, if he's going to just kind of fucking doggy paddle in the pool a little bit with Shooter, yeah, why not? Go for it. But I mean, just until we figure out what exactly we want to do. All indicators are indication is that he's sticking around. Like he's not going anywhere, and he wants to stay. And we just got to figure out what can we do. I will still die on this fucking hill that the people that have talked to us, and it might not be the same people that have stroke or influence or whatever, but there was a fucking time when this guy was fucking got a check mark next to his name of, okay, we got something here. Let's build around this a little bit and see what we can do. But it hasn't panned out. What reasons? I don't fucking know. And I really don't know if anybody knows. But I'm okay with doggy paddling until we figure out what we want to do next. Anything Joel has?
It's kicking off again here, David. I've sent you a WhatsApp message.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. I'll take it from here. You want me to go on a little bit more about ELP? I can. Arthur, look at this poor guy. Arthur Klein again. Please give thoughts on this card. All right, let's check a look here. I'm going to hit the link that Joel has provided. Oh, Capital Collision. I was wondering when we were going to talk about this, even if we were going to acknowledge its existence. 10 days away. We have the full card. Right in front of us. Let's see here. We have the New Japan Strong Openweight Championship. This is, by the way, in Washington, D.C. I could probably go to this show, maybe, if I decided to. The return of Leo Rush against Gabe Kidd for the New Japan Pro Wrestling Strong Openweight Championship. That probably will be pretty fucking good. We also, back in and I'll put in air quotes, a New Japan Pro Wrestling ring. Mustafa Ali, welcome back. Once again, continuing his bloodbath feud with Hiromu Takahashi. That will be a special singles match at Capital Collision. 6 match, we have TMDK, Shane Haste, Mikey Nichols, versus Henichiro. I can't pronounce people's names. And Virus.
I'm back. I've moved upstairs, so the sound quality is probably going to be
echoey, but you're
terrible and echoey. But
I'm at match 6, TMDK, the Openweight Tag Championship strong. Naito is on this card against TJP. That's an interesting match. That's the 5th match. 4th match, Zack against Teton. That should be fucking brilliant. This show is not bad, Joel. 3rd match, Fred Rosser, Tom Lawler, better known as Dirty Work. West Coast Wrecking Crew, once again, Joel's favorite. That should be pretty decent as well. 2nd match, Kevin Knight. Fantastic. Haven't seen him in a while. Rocky Romero squeezing his ass in this show. At least he's not in the main event. And Yoshihashi taking the flight over to Washington, D.C., seeing the sights against the War Dogs, Clark Connors, Drilla Maloney, and David Finlay. That's the 2nd match, which just sounds really good. Opening match. Number 1 contenders match. New Japan Strong Openweight Tag Team. Number 1 contenders match. TMDK. The return of Bad Dude Tito and our good friend Robbie Eagles against Tomohiro Ishii, Shane Haste, and the Grizzled Young Veterans. A little 3-way. Wow. There's a kickoff match with ladies kickoff match, as well as also a kickoff match. Another one of those strong survivor matches. Matt Vandegrift against is it Elaine Breeze or Alan Breeze? Not familiar with it. That's not a bad show.
What are we thinking?
That's not a bad show.
Be dropping $19.99 US on that, or if you have a look at your WhatsApp.
Oh, okay. What's that?
Another option here, also pay-per-view. Capital Collision for $19.99 or $5.99.
Yeah, $5.99.
Yano and Tanahashi wanking each other off in a hot tub.
$5.99. I just want to know who's buying that. Like, who is going to drop the $5.99 to watch Yano and Tanahashi in a fucking onsen? Oh my lordy low! I'll tell you what. I know what I'm doing right now. I'm looking at my calendar and seeing what I got going on the 30th. That's a really strong show. That's not a bad show at all. 30th. What do I got going on? I feel like I do. Is that a Friday? I think it's a Friday. Right? Yeah, 30th. Friday in DC. Yeah. Okay, let's see what I got. Great radio we're doing right now. I don't think I got anything. I might take a ride down there. I'm sure there's plenty of fucking tickets. Give me a scale of 1 to 10. What you think of this show?
I'll give it a solid 6. I think there's enough intriguing things there and stuff we haven't seen before and people we've not seen for a while to make me intrigued.
Monet's in the main event.
I was going to say put my money down. That's not happening, but I'll watch it for sure.
We'll find a way to watch it. Monet in the main event against Momo Watanabe. Stardom. Again, that Gabe Kid Leo Rush sounds really good. Hiromu Mustafa should be pretty decent. I love Naito versus TJP. I think that might be good. And Zack versus Teton. That's a fucking solid match. That's not a bad show, Joel. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they waited forever to announce these matches. Let's be very clear, like they always do. I wonder how ticket sales would be pick up after the announcement of that show. It's not a bad show. 10 days away. Well, you know what? I say, I'll go. Not after my roof fiasco. I'm probably not leaving the house for another 2 years. You kidding me? Yeah. Imagine that if I say, hey, I'm going to go down to Washington. I'm going to get a hotel. Fucking that door will be locked right behind me and the lock changed.
Any sponsors out there who want to sponsor Damon for this trip?
Yeah. You know what? I don't know who our press credential guy is anymore. I wonder who our media relations. Do you think if we reached out to Rocky, we can get a credential? Maybe I'll do that.
Be stunned if.
Yeah, he might be like, "Fuck you guys! You guys bust my balls every time you get a chance." We'll
he
see.
doesn't listen to us.
Yeah, it's true. He doesn't hear us. You can tell by the way he books his shows. He don't listen. Kidding. Maybe we reach out. Who do you think we should reach out to?
By the way he books his shows, he's not a listener.
He's not a man. I don't know what that meant. Maybe I think we have somebody we can reach out to. At least point us in the right direction.
Only listens to Keeping It Strong Style. Keeping It Strong Style.
Put me on the top of the show. Put me on the top of the show. I'll put your guys on our dumb shows, but just put me on. Put me on.
It's got legs like that. I think we could definitely workshop this into a full song. Right, anyway, I'm going to move on, talk about some of the stuff that's been announced for the Destruction Tour. So, first of all, we have the new recruit for United Empire revealed as Jacob Austin Young, who's making his debut on September 6th with United Empire. So, yeah, I'm a fan of his. I've enjoyed his work back when he was running with the J Cafe gimmick in Oriental Wrestling Entertainment. So, that is up on YouTube. Very, very much worth watching. And he had some really good matches on New Japan Strong. They weren't the longest matches, but there was one with Red Narrator. They only gave him about 5 minutes, but I thought he was very, very good in that. So I think that's quite a smart pickup. He's professional, veteran worker. I think he's going to be a useful addition. I don't expect him to be any more than a pin eater to start with, but, everyone's got to start somewhere. So I'm manifesting J Cafe for Best of the Super Juniors next year. So we'll see how he gets on. We've also got Jake Lee and Gabe Kidd officially teaming up as the Mad Bastards, which is quite exciting. I think that will be a nice, refreshing change there for the tag division. And I think working alongside Gabe Kidd might give Jake Lee a bit of an edge, a bit of those rough edges that you like to talk about. So we've got Mad Bastards there. There are 6 televised shows so far. So September the 7th is the Shingo Takagi 20th debut anniversary event. And top matches there are Fujita and Zack against Jacob Austin Young and Great Khan. And the main event is an intra-LIJ match with Hiromu, Tsuji, and Naito against Shingo, Bushi, and X. So we've got a mystery person there. I'm not sure who that might be. Maybe someone from Dragon Gate. Yamato has been a name that's been thrown out there. September 8th at Korakuen Hall, we have the main event of the NJPW World TV Championship. Jeff Cobb defending against Yota Tsuji. September 9th at Korakuen, we've got the Never Openweight Championship. Henare defending against Hiromu Takahashi. Now, I don't know if you noticed this, Damon, but during their match on the G1 final show, when Hiromu did the unnamed Hiromu roll pinfall on Henare, he held that.
Bundied him. Yeah, he bundied him.
A 10 count.
Yeah.
And that's put the cat amongst the pigeons. And my working theory, and this is sort of based off stuff that Hiromu said backstage, I think Hiromu has legitimately got upset by Henare's backstage comments the night before, where Henare essentially said that Hiromu took the G1 off as a holiday. I think that's really annoyed Hiromu, and I think he went into business for himself there, just holding in that pinfall for a 10 count just to make Henare look bad. So that's what's going to be quite interesting, because I don't know what the sort of seniority situation is, but I'll be interested to see if there's any receipts there, if Henare might just sort of lay a few potatoes in there for Hiromu making him look bad. But yeah, weirdly, that ridiculously long count has made me more excited for this match. And a lot of people are viewing this as a possible gateway to having Hiromu as never champion and maybe facing Naito at Wrestle Kingdom, but we'll wait and see there. Brian says, do you think we see Hiromu move to the heavyweight division after the singles match with Naito?
I mean, that would be a nice little path for him. Once again, look, I'm not sitting here having everyone go shoulder to shoulder and be like, okay, let's measure everyone's height and all. But, again, the biggest challenge that I have. And again, you're not a junior just because you're smaller or taller. You're a junior because of your weight. So, I mean, that's nothing wrong with bulking up a little bit and, making the heavy. I'm talking like I'm writing a story for Pro Wrestling Illustrated. I mean, look, nobody would complain. Who would complain? No one would complain. The biggest complaint would be is, okay, is there someone that's going to be the anchor of the juniors? And I think we have plenty of candidates for that. So I don't think there's a pressing need for Hiromu has to stay a junior, because who's going to, captain the ship. And I think, quite honestly, it opens the door to a ton more interesting matchups. So I'm going to say yes. I think that's going to be the natural path. And you know what? Not for nothing. If you put Hinare and Hiromu shoulder to shoulder, I don't think one's bigger than the other. You know what I mean? Like tall wise, I don't think they are. So we'll see. I think I don't think anybody would complain. That's for sure.
On September the 11th in the Sendai Sun Plaza Hall, we have, I thought it was quite an interesting tag match here, Taichi and Sanada against Fujita and Zack. I don't think Taichi and Sanada have teamed up before as a tag team. That is a team that I would like to see doing stuff this year, maybe going deep in World Tag League. And the main event for that is the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match with Doki defending against Taiji Ishimori. September 14th is NJPW Battle Line Hokkaido. So this is a really interesting show. So we've got Kazushi Sakuraba for some reason teaming up with Yano. Yeah, against the young guys, the guy Yasuda. Right. I've asked around. I can't seem to find any logic in why Sakuraba is appearing on this show in like I don't know if this is just the opening match or like a pre-show match, but there we go. Sakuraba and Yano teaming up once again. There's a local 20-man Rambo, which I assume will be local talent there. And we have the Noboribetsu City Sightseeing Ambassador Triumphant Return. Noboribetsu sponsor presents Never Openweight 6-man Tag Team Championship match with Oleg Yano, and Yano is the official sponsor of Noboribetsu. So Oleg, Yano, and Tanahashi defending their 6-man titles against Dick Togo, Yujiro, and Evil. After, on the final show, Dick Togo pins Tanahashi. Do you remember when we used to talk about how when pinfalls over Tanahashi meant something?
Yeah.
Is that's in the bin now, right?
I think so. I think so.
Once Dick Togo that does it, all bets are off.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, it is what it is, but we knew that those moments had diminishing returns. We're at the end of our rope. It doesn't necessarily mean a whole hell of a lot anymore. But hey, he's willing to do it. God bless him. God bless him.
And then fast forwarding to September 29th, Destruction in Kobe. We've got 2 matches announced for this. The IWGP Global Heavyweight Championship. David Finlay will defend against Yoshihashi, who pinned him on the final show. And IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Tetsuya Naito defending against Great Okan. Lost in Ube says, how funny would it be for Okan to beat Naito and then Zack beats Okan for the title, or Okan as champion beating Zack? Would the wrestling world explode?
Yes, we would be in deep trouble, because the deluge of what the fuck is happening would be coming our way. I will say this. I would be shocked, as the kids would say. Shocked with Riz. Bro. I'd be shocked with Riz, bro, if Great Okan walked out of there with a title. I'm going to be very honest with you. I can't see that happening. And
how are you feeling about those announced matches? There's nothing really thrilling there. I think for the sickos, there's stuff to get excited about. But
it's a stretch.
Yeah, nothing there. That's like a must see for me.
No, I don't think there's. I'll tell you what. The one thing I do want to see, I got to get my fucking hands on, is I want to see the local battle royal. That should be fun. Seeing guys they probably had to pay to be in it. Look, I'll sell 17 tickets. I'll get you into battle royal. Cool.
Can we do a whip round and get Chris Charlton in there?
Oh my God! Now we're talking. I could have sworn. And I might have this confused, so didn't he train to be a pro wrestler at one point? I could have sworn he trained to be a wrestler. I know, it does seem preposterous. I know.
That might be the most preposterous thing you've said in the 324.
Why am I saying that, though? You know who I think told me that was that? Who told me that? Who told you that? I could have sworn that he trained, like he was
go just out one of our sources, why don't you?
All right. Sorry, President Hiroshi Tanahashi. No, I could have sworn it was, who was our friend? oh my God, he's going to kill me because I can't. I swear to God, I really feel like I have some form of dementia, or I feel like Joe Biden. I don't even know where I'm at. Who was the guy? W.H. Park. I could have sworn W.H. Park told us.
Huh. I don't think so. That doesn't sound, that's not ringing a bell.
That's
with
not
me.
what he would say.
I will follow up though. I will check.
All right, please. I don't want to spread any rumors. I could have sworn. You know what? I might have him confused with Fraser. He went to Japan to in the dojo. If I'm not mistaken. By the way, how jealous are you of him in the sense of it looks great, looks like $1 million, the full head of hair, like he's not bothering anybody going to these fucking shows. Looks like $1 million. I will say this though, he loves this. Know what his favorite combo is? Jeans, white t-shirt. Every fucking picture, jean, white t-shirt. I don't think I've seen him in anything else.
Fashion critique.
I do
Damon.
I do notice these things. All right, I'm sorry. Very good. Sorry.
Right, well, let's do some questions before we get out of here then, if you're okay. You stop me when you're tired and want to leave. So the Bebler says, if Oiwa, Yuto Nakashima, and Oscar Leuber get in the G1 next year, who from this lineup gets cut for them, both ideally and realistically?
Yeah.
So give me 3 names you're chopping from this year's G1.
I would probably say ELP. I would probably say... God damn. How could you cut him after the fucking performance he had? I mean, seriously, how could you do that? I mean, look, he's arguably the oldest gentleman in the tourney, but again, like I don't know how I could live myself doing that.
I'll give you one.
Well,
Jeff
I mean,
Cobb.
listen, if we're assuming
Jeff
that
Cobb might move on at some point.
Correct, right. So if we're assuming people might move on, that's tough. Who would you cut, Joel?
Yeah, again, with a caveat of people who might move on to other companies. I think ELP, Cobb, and Goto. I think you'd have to, just because that's that's the direction of the company, isn't it?
Whew, man.
Maybe someone will be injured. Maybe you won't be back by then. I don't know.
Oh my goodness, you're wishing injury. Terrible.
Right, Darrow says, what or who has been the biggest surprise of the tournament, the biggest disappointment, and can't miss matches? I mean, I feel we sort of covered a lot of that stuff already.
I don't think there's been a disappointment. Would you say there was a disappointment? Give me one guy.
Shota, I think.
Oh, yeah.
He's not been terrible. I think he's not been as bad as a lot of people are saying, but I expected more from him.
He ain't it right now.
Right now.
Yeah, not
he
right
might get there.
Oh, hey, I think he definitely will. Not right now.
Biggest surprise of the tournament, Goto, I think. I didn't expect him to be delivering. And can't miss match. If I had to pick one, I know it's a very normie pick, but I thought the Takeshita ELP match was pretty fucking great.
Yep, that in the final I loved, and Shingo and Zack I loved. I think if you go with those 3, you're not going to fucking miss out. That's the shit right there.
Okay, Multiverse A says, if Takeshita was able to be in the company for 1 full year, how would you book him to get maximum value? I just do the classic thing of put the world title on him, have him beat a load of challengers, and then have him put over your next guy. I don't know. I suppose maybe someone like Oiwa or Yuya, one of the young guys, to be the guy that finally beats him. But basically, I'd give him like the dominant Okada-style title reign booking.
Yep. Have him have a myriad of different challengers. Mo throw him. Yep. Mo throw him, and then lose, drop the strap, put somebody over. Yeah, that's classic pro wrestling 101. That's exactly what I would do.
Amelia Bedelia says, should Gabe have a feud with President Tanahashi? I'd love that. I'm not sure Tanahashi would physically hold up to a proper feud with Gabe Kidd.
Yeah.
And emotionally as well, because Gabe, he's a very, very harsh words, very foul language.
Mean.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I know. Mean-spirited. Not kind words. No, I wouldn't want to put we joked about fucking Okada, paying his dues and now having the sweet life. Let the Prez be the Prez behind the desk. You don't need to take the fucking nonsense that Gabe Kidd will be throwing out. No way.
David Bentley Fart says, Yuya was looking excellent. Is he a future AW Continental Champion in the making? Is Yuya a flight risk to you, or do you think he's going to be dyed in the wall New Japan?
I I don't think I'm not worried about anybody being a flight risk right now. Because I don't think the company, I think AEW has the people that Tony Khan gets a boner over, right? I think he's written the checks. Now, are there guys that contracts might be up in like WWE that he still fucking has wet dreams over? Probably, right? But I guarantee you there are probably guys like fucking Shinsuke or, stuff like that. Again, he seems to be locked into a certain time period in pro wrestling that he likes a lot. So, maybe he signs, Rob Van Dam or something. I don't know. Yeah, look, I'm not worried about anybody New Japan wise flight risk. I think that being said, I think there will be a natural progression of people moving on, and in a lot of cases, I think it's best for both, right? That they move on. So. No, I'm not too concerned about that at this point. I think the major losses have already happened, and I hate to say it, but you can see what they're fucking doing with them. All that money spent. And yeah, we'll again a big match against their top star, no doubt. The Okada thing just has me just giggling. Like, what are we doing? But hey, it's not my promotion. I don't give a fuck.
And Nebraska Man says Jake Lee joining the War Dogs doesn't he seem like a more natural leader for Bullet Club? Also, he would be the first Japanese-born leader. I don't know about Bullet Club leader, but I will say this for Jake Lee, that he did come in with the declaration that nobody should trust him and he's a betrayer and he's going to stab everyone in the back. So I think that feels like a massive red flag that he's going to do that at some point. Maybe that could be the vehicle for turning Gabe Kidd face. I don't know. Maybe he turns on Gabe Kidd at the end of World Tag League. But I do feel that there's legs in the tag team run. I think that's a good spot for him. I mean, it looks like he's sticking around with New Japan because
that's the shocker.
Yeah.
To me, that's the shocker that he is sticking around, because I think everybody kind of had him penciled in as, okay, after G1 he will wander back to Noah, but. Hey, and here's the thing too. It's not to say that like they couldn't do both. I mean, not full time, mind you, but hop back and forth a little bit. Go on a big show for Noah, it wouldn't shock me at all. So, yeah, I mean, look, I think I kind of like that tag team. I kind of like the look of it, the aesthetics. I think it might be fun.
They had a great little backstage moment. I think it was the backstage comments after the final, where they just glanced at each other, did a little sort of drinking gesture and a little smile and a wink, and then walked off. And I enjoyed the chemistry there. It was very cute.
Yep, they'll be in the hot tub, $5.99.
Jersey Joe Gotch says, Jim Cornette asked if, quote, Naito was 56 on his podcast that reviewed the Go Home AW Dynamite to Forbidden Door. Any thoughts? To me, Naito's IWGP is completely embarrassing. It's like if Wahoo won the AWA World title in 87. What is New Japan thinking?
Well, again, I'm not turning to Jim Cornette for my Japanese pro wrestling takes. Let's be very clear about that, number one.
Should we get him on the show? Do you think he'd be interested?
No, I don't. I think he'd be like, who the fuck are these? Yeah, no. I'll tell you what, I was on many Dennis Corluzzo shows where he was on the show, and he was always very nice to us, very kind. Gave us good advice, watched our shit, so I appreciated that. Again, but like I'm not fucking taking anything he says about Japanese pro wrestling. It's just not his thing. He just doesn't fucking follow it, know it. And let's be very clear, to the casual and just distant follower of it, you look at Naito and he does look a little old. We'll say that. But yeah, I mean, let's not get our Japanese pro wrestling takes from Jim Cornette. I'll take the territory days, the Mid-South days. I love the stories. I love hearing them. I like hearing the world class stories. I like hearing the Crockett stuff. Trust me, that's all the shit I love. And I've said it many times. I'm a huge fan of his stuff with Midnight Express. I think he was just fucking great. And there are times where like I'll catch snippets of his podcast in my YouTube travels. And some of the stuff I enjoy. I'm not going to lie. But again, I'm not. I actually, him and then Stevie Richards, I don't know if you've seen, has a little show that he does. And I like hearing, like I said, the WWE stories and stuff like that. Interesting. Wrestled him. He gave me a leg drop one time. I remember he dragged me into the ring, and I never forget. He's like, "Don't move." I believe he said, "Don't fucking move." He slams me. I went up like a fucking sack of potatoes. I don't know how he got me up. He got me up. Boom. And then he goes to the top, drops a big fucking leg on me, Bobby Eaton style. Light as a feather. Didn't feel a thing. I was like, oh, well, there goes my fucking dental copay through the roof. I was like, this is going to hurt. Nope. Light as a feather. Perfect. But yeah, he was talking about Okada, and he was talking about, he couldn't get Ishii's name. Like, it was like, you know how I butcher names? Like, he just fucking massacred names. And I was just like, oh my God, dude, what are you talking about? Not really in on the New Japan scene. Let's put it that way. You know what I love about people who kind of want to talk about New Japan but have no idea what the fuck they're talking about? What's the one thing they always reference?
Bullet Club.
Oh, it's a good guess. Strong style. Everybody's like, strong style.
Okay.
They're like, strong style. I was like, I don't even think you know what that means. You're just throwing around words. But whatever. I do enjoy the Stevie Richards show. Everyone, again, for the WWE stories and the ECW stories, sure, of course. I think it's good. And here's the thing too. He again, like, worked with him on indie shows, and he wouldn't never remember. He might remember some shows, but him and Supernova, was it Mike Boozy and Donnie, his brother, helped Dennis a lot with booking shows and stuff. So we got along really well. He was cool. Everything was cool. Very good. One piece of advice that I got was, he goes, never let the talent know how important they are to the show. And I was like, what? He's like, yep. Never let the talent know how much they are to the show, because you're trying to pay them, and it's like haggling for a car. Like, I can't afford to fly in, and well, can you fly me in and give me this? Well, you never let them know how important they are. I thought that was weird. Pro wrestling is so great. Nobody gives a fuck. All right. I don't know. What do you want to do? You want to wrap it up? We've been talking for 2 hours.
Yeah, you mentioning people butchering names has just suddenly made me think of the holiday Christopher Mace. Do you remember he used to do his New Japan Cup pick'ems on YouTube?
Oh my God, yes. Holy fuck, is he still doing it?
He disappeared.
Oh no, is the channel gone?
I think so, yeah.
Oh no. That was a highlight. Holy fuck, remember that guy? Yeah. That dude was awesome. I'm going to go with Naiti. I love it. And he'd always say that. I'm going to go with, all right, we got Jeff Cobb versus, he would butcher some name. I'm going to go with Jeff Cobb. And he would always go with the guy he could pronounce. So he didn't have to pronounce the guy later on in his brackets. It was amazing. It's amazing how all these Western
so his final was always the guy with the two most easy to pronounce names.
Right. It really was. Oh, he was adorable. I loved him. I loved it. Loved him. Loved it. I miss him. We should have him on the show. Fuck the round table and all these super guests that we have on. I want him on.
I genuinely tried. I wanted to get him in for a New Japan Cup preview show.
Oh, no way. He never responded?
I think his channel's gone.
Fuck.
His channel has disappeared. I can't find it anymore.
Oh, it probably got so big. It was like Mr. Beast probably wrote a letter and was like, we got to fucking do it. He's taking my numbers, man.
He went out on top.
He sure did. God bless. R.I.P.
All right. redcircle.com/super-j-cast. Give us some money.
Please.
That's it. I've got it. That's it. Bye.
Bye.
Come and see me at the Rev Pro at, what is it? What's the name of the place again?
I don't know,
Crate
the pizza place?
or Craft? Crate, the pizza place, yeah. Buy me a drink.
Enjoy. Have a good time.
Off.
Fuck off.
Hi, I'm Case Lowe, co-host of the Open the Voice Gate podcast. The one question I'm constantly asked when it comes to Dragon Gate is, how do I get into the promotion? Well, stop asking and start listening to the Open the Voice Gate podcast, released every Wednesday on the Voices of Wrestling podcasting network. For exclusive news and show reviews, look no further than the leader in Dragon Gate coverage, Open the Voice Gate.